Hi guys, you're welcome to this pre-algebra course that is centered around fraction, ratios, and percentages. Now, in this particular class, we will be focusing more on fractions, and then we will basically deep dive down to ratios and then percentages, right? So, also this class is like, in fractions, we will basically apply what we have learned in the highest common factors, prime numbers, and lowest common multiples chapter. So, if you haven't, if you don't understand this concept, you might want to see this video before watching this. So, let's go to the next one. So basically, what is a fraction? Um, a fraction is just when you have a number that is like an integer, which is basically divided by another integer. So that's what a fraction is. And if you remember in one of the classes also, we basically talked about what an integer is. So an integer could basically be anything, a whole number from minus from the minus side of the number line till the positive. So you could have an integer like minus maybe minus 24, and then it's basically divided by 60, right, which is another integer, and this is a fraction, right? So this is an example of what a fraction is. But I would like to explain what a fraction is, in a different form, so then you have an idea of what we are trying to, what kind of picture we're trying to paint here, right? So here, if you have, say you have like a pie, maybe this is a pizza, right? And in your pizza, maybe like you basically decide to split the pizza into 5 pieces, and then you go ahead and you split the pizza into maybe 5 pieces. Maybe you have one piece, 5 equal pieces. You have to put that into context, right? This is not equal, but yes. So this is like, 5 equal pieces. This is the assumption. So, and then you decide to take the whole of this part, which is 3 parts of this 5, and then you decide to maybe, give it to maybe a certain person, and then you could say like this person has 3 parts out of the 5 parts of the pizza, right? So basically, when you split the pizza into 5 equal parts, the person has 3 all over 5 of it, right? So this is the idea of what a fraction is. So a fraction is like a division of a certain whole, right? It's a division of a certain whole, and that is the whole concept of what a fraction is. So if maybe you have to share something, maybe you have to share some piece of food, or you have to share maybe some piece of money, or you have to share your time as well. So this is like the fraction. It's a fraction out of the total time that you have. So another very good example is, say, another very good example here is, we have 24 hours in a day, right? And then you could decide to say you read for maybe 4 hours in a day, you sleep for 6 hours or maybe 8 hours in a day, and then maybe you decide to play some video games for maybe 1 hour for the day, and then maybe the rest of the hours basically you just go to college, right? So maybe you go to college. um you know Here now you have like 11 hours, right? So here, what happens here is, this is a split of your day, because you don't have more than 24 hours. So you have to split your day in this. And then, so if someone is saying, what fraction of your day did you spend, in college, you could, say in college, right? You spent 11 out of the 24 hours. So this is, I spent 11 over 24 hours. Over 24, of my day in college. And then also here you could say like for reading, you spend 4 out of 24, right? And then also for sleeping, you could say 8 out of 24. And then for watching videos, you could say 1 out of 24. So this is the whole concept of what a fraction is. And fractions are, they're you could add up, you could add fractions, you could subtract them, you could multiply them, you could do a lot of computation of fractions. So basically we will do this now, and then basically we'll use this as the example, right? So basically this will take us to the next part, which is, in fractions, we will basically be looking at how the BODMAS rule works on fractions. The BODMAS rule, the famous BODMAS rule that's basically around brackets, brackets of, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. How does this work with fractions, right? Now, this is also where we kind of, bring back what we already know about the highest common factors and then, lowest common multiples. This is where you apply them. This is where you see how it's been applied, to solve, another topic. So this is why the foundation part of this course is very, very important, because then whatever you learn here, you will basically apply in so many other topics. And this is just how we go. So it's very important to grasp all these topics. So first, we have, I would like to split this into pieces, So you have, so each of the box will, serve for, so addition, here you have your addition. Right? So in the case of addition, if you have two fractions and you want to do some kind of addition, then you just basically, say like if you have a fraction of maybe 3 all over 2 plus maybe, 1 all over 12. So in this case, how do we add it up? So when we want to add it up, basically we look at, we basically have to find what is the common multiple. Now, what is the lowest common multiple, right? So we come back to this common multiple thing again, right here. When we look at this, so basically we're looking at the number that is, the lowest number that can serve as a multiple for both cases, right? So in this case, it's quite easy because we can see that 12 will work for both cases. Why can 12 work for both cases? Because 2 is like, a very, it's a prime number and it's a factor of 12. So it's very easy to see that right off the bat. So basically here, we basically have our 12 that we have written, right? And then we decide that, okay, so then we have to add, we have to basically like take 2, we divide 2 from 12, we have 6, then 6 plus 3, 6 times 3, then we basically take 6, 2, sorry, let me come again. We take 2, we divide 2 from 12, right? And then we have 6, and then we take 6 and we multiply 3, then we have 18, right? And then we go to the next number, and then we say 12 divided by 12, then we have 1, and then we say 1 times 1, and then we say 1, and then now we have 19 over 12, right? Another very good method, a very faster method that we could use to do the addition is also we could also do this, right? At times it could be a bit complex, if the numbers are too high, but what we can also do, a very, very simple way of, getting the addition done is also by multiplying, the top and bottom by, to have a common base, right? So basically to have a common denomination for the two numbers. So so we'll just use this and we do, a second method, right? So we have the same method, same numbers. So basically here we try to make both of them have the same base, right? So what do we do here? We say for it to have the same base, we say like 3 times 6 and 2 times 6, right? So this will be 12. So here we don't have to do any multiplication here because it's already 12. So both numbers have the same base. And then you have 18 divided by 12, and then you have 1 divided by 12, and then you have 19 all over 12. So we have the same number by just doing the same thing. Now, so basically here you have subtraction. So in the case of subtraction, it's very, very similar to the case of addition. Now, in the case of subtraction, you are basically also trying to do the same thing that you have done in the case of addition. The only difference is everywhere you have a plus, you take a minus, right? You take a minus instead. So if we take the same example that we have used, here we could say 3 all over 2 minus 1 all over 12, right? And then when you do this, computation, you basically have the lowest common multiple, right? And then when you look at the lowest common multiple, so you basically come again and do the same thing. 2 divided by 12, you have 6, and then 6 times 3, right? And then minus 12 divided by 12, you have 1, then 1 times 1, and then you have 18 minus 1, and then you have 17 all over 12. And so we could also apply the same, second method that we did in the case of addition. And so here we have, so here we could just try to find a common base for both of them. I mean, it's still the same thing at the end of the day, but then we just try to find a common base for both numbers. It's also like the same thing if we have to do more than two fractions numbers. So here we just say, okay, what can make this two of them have the same base? So we know that if we multiply this by 6, then we have the same base. So in this case, we multiply the top by 6 because we have to multiply the down by 6, and then we have this staying like this because it's already 12. And then also, by the time you do this computation, you just see that this is also 17 all over 12. And then now we go to the next case where we are basically looking at multiplication. Right, so multiplication here is just basically, in multiplication, you do not have to find the lowest common multiple. You just basically go ahead and multiply the numerator with the other numerator, and then you multiply the denominator with the other denominator. So it's quite easy, but so let's just go. So we have 3 all over 2 times 1 all over 12. So then here you say 3 times 1 and 2 times 12, right? So here you have your 3 all over 24, right? So here you don't have a second formula, but I will later show you how you can go ahead and simplify this number. But then let's just keep it like this, right, for now. So we have division. So how do you divide a fraction from the other? So when you want to divide a fraction from the other, you basically have like 3 all over 2 divided by 1 all over 12. Now, to divide, you have to basically do something like this. So basically, it's like saying 1 all over 1 all over 12, right? So, and then you have to basically flip the division. So when I mean flip, so basically it's like let's just take it like this. So for you to change, you have to change the division sign to a multiplication. And for you to change a division sign to a multiplication, you have to invert the number on the second part. So basically you have to invert this number for you to change the division sign. So this is the trick of division, and then you can go ahead and do a multiplication then, because now it's a multiplication, and then you have 36 over 2. So this is, I mean, the basic BODMAS of fractions, right? Basic BODMAS of fractions. So this is what we look at here. But I mean, along the line, also we will have to look at ways that we can simplify fractions. I mean, we will look at this in the next classes, the next class, and I mean, it's fine. So stick around.